Welcome back to the Star Trek Critic, where each episode is treated like a school project and graded starting with 100 points, then 1 point removed for each error, including plot holes, continuity errors, starting mismatches, set design flaws, and anything else I can think of, since we know so much more about the show than the producers ever did. Today's episode is the Omega Glory, one of those few episodes where the first 10 minutes of the show have nothing to do with the rest of the episode. It looks like Kirk has to let out a really good fart. We first learn what the bridge crew does in their spare time. They watch Star Trek, of course. The Enterprise comes upon the derelict USS Exeter orbiting Omega 4. Then the show evolves into a parallel Earth episode. As simple as it looks, this was a very difficult scene for that time period's technology. The first point is lost for a single set of turbo-lift doors. It is obviously not an elevator. The next point is lost because the Exeter never did send out a distress call to begin with. And one more point is lost because the captain and first officer beam down together like they're not supposed to. One more point is lost since they rematerialize facing in different directions. And one more point for beaming on board without hazmat suits like they wore on the Naked Time. After all, they did try to make contact, so they probably also tried to get an onboard video shot as well. Spock's like, that's funny, when the Kelvins did this last week, the uniforms disappeared. Shout out to the special effects department for simple but effective props. I think this is the only time you learn how many shuttlecraft are actually on board one of the spaceships. The next point is lost for completely empty hallways. There could have been one or two uniforms laying around like they had last week. Another point lost for the fake turbo lift, and one more point again for the captain's log talking down to the audience. McCoy finds a valuable roll of log tape, and Spock's like, hey, this shirt is just my size. McCoy's thinking how much he can sell these for. McCoy points out that the crystals are the crew without their water, but it is more like 60 to 75%. So minus one more point for a scientific error. And minus one more point for using pounds instead of kilograms. Kirk says, while we're here, let's finish watching my favorite episode of Star Trek. So in the future, the cameras are programmed to turn themselves off when you fall out of your chair. Kirk is so good he can issue orders with his eyes closed. And I think we should also look for a big dustbuster. Another point is lost for beaming down again without hazmat suits. Obviously, a crystallized crew wasn't a big enough hint. Look, they get to watch a public execution. Galloway tries to stop it, but Kirk says, no, I want to watch. I haven't seen a good beheading in a long time. 1 point is lost here since Captain Tracy has been on the surface for almost 6 months now. In reality, he would have started wearing local clothes. This mention of the fireboxes also shows how he got into his position with the comms. Kirk and Tracy talk about their old girlfriends. Look quick, you'll see live animals in the distance. In reality, he bought his position with the phasers. According to Captain Tracy, his landing party beamed back to the Exeter and infected the crew, but staying on the surface keeps you immune. I disagree with Dr. McCoy. I think they are smart enough not to go back to the Enterprise. Captain Tracy treats this like the coronavirus, and they should quarantine like he's a blue state governor. So I usually trash talk the captain's log, but this one provides information of the Enterprise changing orbit and the problem with Captain Tracy violating the Prime Directive. McCoy's like, didn't we do this last year on the teenage zombie planet? Here is a great example of how important Lieutenant Uhura's job is on the ship. McCoy is onto something. His expertise really shows up when he's in the field. McCoy predicts the coronavirus 50 years in advance, but he thinks it's going to happen in the 1990s instead. Actually, Dr. McCoy, it was easy to believe because 2020 was an election year. Looks like Galloway had his heart broken by one of the local women. Spock should know better than to go roaming about on a strange planet. However, he did find the smoking gun that shows Tracy is guilty of breaking the Prime Directive. Now they get into the Kirk-Spock-McCoy debate. Bones says Tracy lost his crew and had no choice on a hostile planet. Plus, they are trapped here. Spock takes that into consideration, but concludes they need to at least take his phaser away. But Captain Tracy has gone off the deep end and just wants to kill Redshirts now. Now they're all screwed. It was pretty stupid of Captain Tracy to contact the ship right in front of the captain, but they needed a dramatic moment in the show where Kirk was going to die. It makes for a good commercial break. Now's a good time for a foot fight scene. That's odd. Kirk places himself under arrest. Now he's going to explain why. And the backstory is Captain Tracy believes he has found the planet that's the fountain of youth. No, Kirk, the planet's name is Omega-4, not Wu. It turns out Wu is incredibly old, and his father is over 1,000 years old. Then Tracy tries to pimp them out. Kirk's like, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" And Tracy sees marketing this term as the financial opportunity of a lifetime. Ironically, he sees this as a perfectly good reason to break the Prime Directive, just like they do 100 years in the future in Star Trek Insurrection. Now is a good time for another fight scene. Tracy smiles too much when he throws punches. The commercial break is over, so it's time for another fist fight. Kirk tries to cop a feel in the middle of the fight, so Sarah bites him. Spock takes a second to offer sportscaster commentary. Spock finishes the fight with a Vulcan pinch. Here is the one time when Trek technology does not keep up with the times. They had their communicators taken away, but these computers should be sophisticated enough for McCoy to send a coded email up to the ship for help. But he can't, so -1 point. McCoy gets a nice meal, and Wu's like, "What are you looking at?" This is probably what caused that disease, but not necessarily their long life. I will have to take a point for outdated terminology. Although the term yellow does have historical references besides skin color, now they learn that the Yangs can speak English. Now they are working together, but if you look closely, they are twisting the bar in opposite directions. Kirk makes a mistake of turning his back on his new comrades. Kirk recovers, but I think he's getting a little too personal with Spock right now. Vulcans have very accurate internal clocks. Luckily, security's really light here. This is what happens to you when you leave the prison keys laying out. McCoy acts like their escape is just another day at work. McCoy discovered that the immunization process is much quicker than they believed, and the natives here naturally live longer, so Tracy didn't find that fountain of youth at all. Spock is able to get this computer to signal the ship. Tracy blames Kirk for the battle he's just finished, since he released Cloud William. He's really guilty of breaking the Prime Directive now. Kirk tells Tracy the truth, but I don't think Tracy wants to believe it. Your screen isn't squiggly, that's the actual design of the door. In this scene, Sulu should know by now that something is going on, and should have gone ahead and sent his response team down, even though Kirk said everything is okay. But he didn't, so -1 point. Here comes another chase scene. Is it to take advantage of their outdoor set, or to just show Kirk's prowess at jumping over something when he really needs to just jump around it? That's 4 this year now. Captain Tracy is a little frazzled, so can't jump over as well. How convenient. The phaser lost its charge right near an axe. Kirk's thinking, when this is over, Lieutenant Uhura might want one of these baskets for her birthday. And their third fist fight is interrupted by the Yang invasion. In reality, the Yangs could be pretty pissed at Captain Tracy, since he did give the comms more firepower, and this invasion might have been their response, so it is all Captain Tracy's fault. Here is where Kirk and Spock discover they are on another alternate Earth planet. This time, the Americans and Asian communists fought the big one. Did you notice they don't say Chinese? Now, Spock says Earth avoided this war, but which war was World War III? Now comes the flag, and they're wondering what the heck is going on. They should really check out their computers to make sure they haven't been thrown into some alternate future as well. Tracy doesn't know when to give up, does he? Cloud William speaks the holy words, garbled over time, but with much more enthusiasm than any modern-day liberal. Kirk figures out what he's saying real quick. Kirk sees this as a way to make peace, and Captain Tracy just wants to cause more trouble. He's really lost it. Kirk's thinking, I should have left you in that asylum last year. This special effect would have been fun to watch. Cloud William is actually being very reasonable here. He's not the savage they tried to claim he was. Once again, Kirk tries to make peace, and once again, Tracy tries to mess everything up. Just what is his goal now? That neuroneutralizer really got to him last year. This is where Spock says, shit, here we go again with the ears. No wonder the Vulcans don't like us. And now Tracy says he's the Tin Man. Why didn't McCoy just tell them where you could find Spock's heart? That would have been easy. Cloud William puts Kirk to another test and starts to read more holy words. And Kirk's trying, but he's thinking, this isn't fair because I really grew up in Canada and they didn't teach this. Tracy tries to get them to kill Spock, and Spock is thinking, I'm going to kick his ass when this is all over. Here comes another fight scene. Seriously, how many fights are in this show? Kirk got this idea from reading old ship logs by Captain Archer. Cloud William has learned Spanish. The good news is this fight is a distraction enough for Spock to call for help. I will have to take a couple of points here because of the rescue team. First, they aren't wearing hazmat suits since they know there is a virus on the surface, and second, why is Sulu beaming down? He's acting captain, so he should have been someone else. He did that on Star Trek VI too. Cloud William is a little overwhelmed by the transporter beam. Shout out to William Shatner for citing the Constitution's preamble so clearly, since in reality he is Canadian and said more about it than most Americans could. Most liberals today would find his knowledge and passion offensive, since they were told by Facebook News to be offended and uneducated and to vote for the creepy old guy instead. Looks like Kirk is foreshadowing 2020. Kirk wants to make Omega-4 great again. Who is Cloud William talking to? This screenshot makes it look like he's screaming, "Don't worry, Cloud William, we don't always understand him either." So the Yangs and Coms are going to rediscover the Constitution after losing touch with it between the years 2021 and 2024. Hopefully Kirk will leave behind a research team to help them learn how to read it. And Captain Tracy is going back to the neural neutralizer for committing mass murder and breaking the Prime Directive. And they're all like, holy shit, there's a lot more here than we thought. And in keeping with not breaking the Prime Directive, they leave the planet in peace to find its own path, while Kirk takes one last look at the tattered flag and thinks, it would look much better if there was a big red leaf in the middle. So, who were the Omegans? Ed McCready has 90 screen credits, including Gunsmoke and Mission Impossible, and we will see him on Star Trek one more time. David Ross played Galloway. He died, but we'll see him again later in the series. Syrah was played by Irene Kelly. Morgan Farley was also an Archon. He has 80 screen credits to his name, including Soylent Green, Sgt. Pepper's, and Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Lloyd Keno has 100 screen credits to his name, almost in every nighttime TV show from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Roy Jensen played Cloud William. He has 200 screen credits to his name, including Soylent Green. Morgan Woodward was Captain Tracy. He was a pilot in World War II in Korea. We saw him last year as Simon Van Gelder, and we'll see him again in 120 more screen credits, including Bonanza, Gunsmoke, the Logan's Run TV show, and Dallas. The Omega Glory, a parallel Earth story where the Constitution has been neglected, gets a score of 83%. Yes! It makes you just want to jump over a rock over and over again. And again, and again, and again, and again. And this episode ends on a somber note. While the storyline is, what if this happened on a parallel Earth? The theme is that they have forgotten what the Constitution says, which sadly seems to have happened much sooner than expected. So here is what Cloud William discovered that day.